Welcome to another episode of Prioritize. They accomplish while you drown in lists. It's difficult to juggle your responsibilities. Husband, father, brother. It goes on, but your energy doesn't.
You pondering what I'm pondering?
Prioritize what's right for you, not what's left behind. This is Prioritize with Toby Baker.
You'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Woo! Greetings, gentlemen and ladies. This is Prioritize. Here we discuss prioritizing faith, family, relationships, and more. I'm your crazy white, formerly fat host, the Baker Boy himself. Welcome, and yes, I'm speaking specifically to you. To you, right? You know who you... Don't look around. I'm talking to you. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for taking some time to, I would say chillax. I don't think that's a word anymore. Not that it ever really was a word. I got to say, I wasn't a big fan of chillax. I'm not going to use that word maybe ever again. I wasn't, like every time you hear like, ooh, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Man, it's been forever. When was the last time you and I got together? When was that? Christmas? December? You realize we are embarking on month number 3 for 2023. Is that amazing? I don't even know where the times went. Where did it go? It's like Christmas is coming. Okay, it's here. We're in the month of December. We are full-blown, full-on. It is Christmas celebration for the next 31. How many days are in December? 25, 20, 31 days. And then it's gone. And you're like, poof, where'd it go? It was just here. We've been looking forward to this for 11 months. And now it's gone. And now we started a new year, and we're in month 3. We're still February. By the time you're listening to this, hopefully I get this out on, it should be Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday, and thanks for listening on your way to work, on your way back from work. Maybe you're at the end of your shift. You're on the way home. You're like, hey, I could use a little insanity because I'm tired of the world. I'm glad you're with me. That's what I bring. Not the sanity, folks. Not the legitimate words that all come together and form sentences. No, I speak mostly in fragments, and you're welcome. It's been a minute, hasn't it? And where did that phrase come from? Who decided that a minute can mean anything from a few hours to a few months? Why is that a thing? Can we drop that thing? Can we say goodbye? When we say goodbye to 2022, can we also say sayonara to, man, it's been a minute, hasn't it, dog? Can I even say the word dog? I don't know if I can say the word dog with you. Did you just get offended? If you did, maybe you should stop listening now. Listen no further. I don't speak to the sensitive people. And if you're I'm a sensitive guy. Okay, just between you and me, I'm a sensitive guy. I get emotional sometimes. I'll talk about it here in a second or a few seconds. I'll talk about it in a minute. Oh, see what I did there? I turned the minutes into whenever that is down the road. But I'm a sensitive guy. I've been told all my life, don't you take things too personal. You got to stop that, Maybe they're right. Where did the phrase come from? I don't know. I think I'm going to be okay if that goes away. I have so many new topics that I've been collecting. This is going to be a great year. And I hope it's going to be a great year for you too. You know what they say? It's all about perspective, right? It's all about perspective. You could have lost your arm in the last few days and somebody else is saying, well, you still got the other one, right? But did you die? Oh, I was on second shift all last week. I got to hand it to you, folks. I don't know how you do it. Second shift people, third shift people, God love you. Blessings over you, your family, because that was tough. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. Everyone is asleep by the time I get home, right? I mean, it's not like we have 20 people living in a house. There's our youngest son. There's our middle son who's finishing up college this year. He's going to be great. He's going IPFW. That kid is so smart and so disciplined. And our youngest kid, smart, maybe not as disciplined. That's okay. I'm not very disciplined either. Our middle son, he's like far more disciplined than I am. We got 4 people and they're all sleeping by the time I get home. Like, hey, there used to be a welcome. Do you remember, dads, when you were younger and you had the babies and they were like 2 years old? Oh, gosh, I remember coming home. Our eldest son was still young, and he's opened up the door for me. Oh, man, that image is softly burned in my brain. I'll forever carry that around with me. I loved that. I just loved it. It was a long day. At the time, I was in full-time ministry. Most of them were long days. You come home, there's your oldest son. Hey, Dad, glad you're home, opening up the door for. Oh, man, that melts the heart right there. Dad, I could have lost both arms, one leg, be hopping in, and there's my oldest son. He's opening up the door for his old man. Hey, Dad, love you, glad you're home, missed ya, and he's holding the door open for. Oh, man. Let me tell you something, dads. I'm not trying to isolate. Oh, I'm isolating the dads. Ladies, if you get offended, I don't know how to help you out, okay? The show is geared to, I can't, here's the crazy thing. I keep having girls, and, well, they're ladies. They're ladies. They're asking me, hey, when's your next podcast coming out? I'm like, you listen to the show? Huh. And you seem like you're a smart person. You seem like you have some sanity. They're like, hey, when's the next show coming out? Here it is. They're at the next show. Dads, you got kids. If they're opening up the doors for you, cherish it. I'm telling you now, it goes fast. Now, when they see me coming home, they slam the door in my face, lock, and they're like, hey, if you're a smart dad, you're going to be able to get in. I give you 2 minutes. Wise guys. But I love them. They were all sleeping by the time I got home, and by the time I got up, everybody's gone. Everybody's working. Although they're in college or they're at their job. I never got to talk to anybody all week long. I got to talk to my colleague, but we're working. We're working hard. We're installing acoustical treatment panels at a place, and I got to tell you, it was not fun times. The people there, they were nice. Don't get me wrong. The rest of it, not so great. This has been a busy January for Toby, for the Baker Boy. I tell you, my company had some training down in Florida, so we fly down to Florida for a week. I get back. We had a family retreat in the mountains. Right, I get back for 1 week, and then I'm off to the Dominican Republic on a missions trip. I'm not asking for anybody to feel sorry for me. I got to experience like 3 months worth of life inside of 30 days in the month of January. That month went by so fast. And we started another podcast because I don't have enough going on right now. We built a studio over at Restoration Ministries. It's so cool. There was how many people were involved in that? Like 10 different people building this studio. All of the materials were donated. All of the equipment was donated. It was phenomenal to see this thing come together. God had his hand in the whole idea. And the people are excited to see that come together. We recorded 2 episodes. We had a practice episode, which was a lot of fun. None of it made much sense, and that's okay. Then we recorded another episode, and we're working through the issues. They're excited about this. I'm excited about this. We're ready to get rocking and rolling. I got another couple of gentlemen. They're phenomenal gentlemen. One of them, he goes by the name of Jam, or Jimador if you're Spanish. And then I got IP Man. Now, you're probably thinking of the Asian guy, the Kung Fu. Was it Kung Fu? What was the martial art that he's probably far like ninjutsu? Because this guy had mad skills. I don't know if that's still a word in 2023 or phrase, but I just coined it again, okay? And IP Man, when I refer to him as IP, he's not necessarily Asian. He's just short, this guy. IP, I'm going to leave it at IP guy. Not that all Asians are short. I'm a short guy, and I'm a crazy white, well, formerly fat host. But, you take it with a grain of salt, I guess. And I probably offended a lot of, you know what, guys? We got to stop with the offenses. We really got to. I mean, if you are looking for a reason to be offended, it's all over the place. You don't have to look far. I want to give you a quick challenge before we get back to the podcast. How about you not get offended at the drop of a hat? How about you try to implement some of the character that God has instilled in you? How about we get a little thicker skinned And maybe we don't just look for outrage around every corner. We don't look for reasons to become upset. Maybe we look for the good in life. Could we try that on for size? Let's see how that shoe fits for 2023. I had a 3-day weekend. You ever had one of those? Just kind of, it happens. You didn't really schedule it. It happens. And you're like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? I didn't have the second shift over the weekend. It was so nice. So my wife and I, we went on a date. And it was so good. When we went on a date in December, so it's not like we never do dates. But we didn't really have much of an agenda. I was looking around Fort Wayne. Okay, like what's happening in Fort Wayne this weekend? We looked at several different things. They had a lot of different fundraisers for pets. They had fundraisers for some other stuff. And they just opened up this complex, this enormous complex. It used to be a General Electric plant, and now they changed it over to Electric Works. I think it took something like 3 years to build and create and polish, and they're still working on it. There's still several different spots open for retail shops or restaurants. So it's super cool on the inside. They did this really neat job of melting together rustic iron, black iron piping, and then the rustic wood, and it's polished, and it's like I don't know. What's the best way to describe? I don't know. You just got to see it with your own eyes. That's the best way to visualize it. Just really cool beams of wood, open ceiling concept, hard floors, really, really tailored towards a very eclectic group of people. So it seems like walking in, it doesn't matter from what walk of life you come from. You're going to walk in like, oh man, this is my kind of place right here. So we're walking, there's restaurants everywhere, there's bars everywhere, there's cider places everywhere, there's a pizza joint and a hot dog joint and an ice cream joint, there's a Mexican nacho taco, like street taco joint. They had this butcher shop slash, what was the other thing? It was like a barbecue, like barbecue, and then they did a shrimp boil at this place too. Phenomenal. It was turned on to us by some friends of ours, Travis and Susan Quick. They're like, hey, if you've never been, you gotta go. So I went. We went together. It was so nice. So nice. Except for this one thing. Can I bring this up, John? John says I don't have enough time, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it anyway. I walk up to I'm waiting in line at a counter at the pizza joint, right? And I'm being told this is how it is everywhere now. I hope that's not the case because it really demoralizes and takes away the joy. But I'm standing in line at this pizza joint, and we're there for, I don't know, 10 minutes. There was a hard cider place right around the corner. They did some local brewery type stuff, and I'm like, hey Joyce, why don't you go grab us a couple things, and then I'll stand here and grab the pizza, and then we'll reconnect. So I'm waiting. Finally I get up to the order place where I would place my order, and my wife is right back and say, hey look, they got some salads and they got pie by the slice, so grab that. And they had the Miss Vicky's jalapeno chips. Oh, have you ever had these? They're so good. And I'll leave it right there, period. So good. You can't eat just one. It's like, oh, I got to have another bag and another bag. You thought it was good to us, like you can't eat more than just one chip. I'm talking about the bags. You polish off a bag and you're like, hey, who ate all my chips? I need more bag. I need more bags of chips. So we're standing there and we placed our order, and then this little screen pops up. Hey, how much tip would you like to leave for your server today? Do you want to leave 15, 25%, 35% custom tip? I'm like, what? What just transpired here? Now, I've talked before on the podcast about wanting to be generous, about being generous, being the light, being generous towards people, and that's what I want to do. I think we've gone a little crazy here because nothing really changed. Like, you didn't bring the pizza out to me. You didn't come out to the table and deliver the drinks and deliver the pizza and pick stuff up. And None of that happened. I stood in line. I got my own pizza. We got our own salad. And why is this everywhere? I don't understand it. Because now it's like, well, everyone gets a tip. Well, why does everyone get a tip? If everyone gets a tip, then what's the point? Just include it in the paychecks. Why? Okay, I kind of caught on a tangent. But here's the deal. I mean, you're a proprietor, right? If you're the owner of a restaurant, all of the cost of the restaurant, owning and running the restaurant, from the materials, supplies, equipment, to the heat, the electricity, all that gets built into the price of the product. So that eventually, when someone orders the burger, pays for the burger, part of that burger goes towards the heat bill, the light bill, the electrical bill, goes towards the overhead. It goes towards paying the salary of the people, right? So now I'm paying that, and then I'm paying here, and I'm paying you, and like, I'd like to have some of my money too. I don't know. Call me selfish, I guess. And if I get the hate mail, I get the hate mail. And they're probably all going to be from servers. Like, how dare you? You know, don't servers do a rise up? Like, wait a minute. Because if I'm a server, I'm actually working, but you're standing there at the counter just taking the order for the pizza. How come you get I don't know. I mean, maybe that's jealousy. Maybe I'm not as generous as I had hoped that I was, and I just got to ask God to work on my heart more. Nevertheless, and it's not like the order that we placed and 20% is going to break us. It's not going to be another $100 or, X amount of dollars. I mean, we walked away dropping, I don't know, $25. So it wasn't super expensive, but call me insane. I don't think that every single job at a restaurant or at a place of business where they are in the service industry validates or warrants gratuity. And when you turn around expecting it, it's like kind of something that brought value to my life over this weekend. I mean, did not even come close to just being able to spend time with my lovely bride. But on our date, we went to this movie. And we haven't been to the movies, where you go out. Do you remember this? Do you remember the days where there were so many movies playing at the movie theater, you didn't know which one to go see? You just knew you wanted to go out to them because it was so much fun, right? There was the electric point in the air. We're like, oh man, this is going to be so great. You could step up to the movie counter. This is before the days of the app. There was no app. You weren't buying it through the app. You weren't buying it over the web. Like, you had to go to the counter. You're standing in line. And that just created more anticipation and excitement for this movie you're about to go see. And then you'd step up to the popcorn counter and you'd lay down $50 for a small popcorn and then you'd get a little cup with your soda and maybe some hot tamales. If you took a loan out, you could afford that. And then you're ushering your family or all your friends are together and you go and grab your seats and you sit down, and then there's about an hour's worth of premieres and movie premieres and previews, and then finally you get to the movie and you watch it. And you're there and you're laughing at the same parts and you're crying at the same parts. And then there's this big crescendo and everybody claps at the end. Like that was going to see a movie. We did that with Maverick in June. And I'd keep an eye out for the movies coming out. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that movie either. And nothing got the movies. And we thought, we're on a date. We're out and about. If I'm not going to a fundraiser with the pets, if I'm not going to this other fundraiser, if we're not doing dinner and dancing, what else could we do? And we're looking at the shows. We're like, we grabbed tickets. We went to go see it. It was nice. I mean, there's still, I guess today you have your what are they called? Like seat Nazis. If you accidentally sit in the wrong seat, even if it's just one over, watch out. So we got in the proper seats and then we're watching. This was done so well, so very well. There's good dialogue. There's good character build-up. It's a really good drama. There's not a lot of action. So if you're looking for a Marvel movie, that's not this. It's a Tom Hanks movie. It's a drama. You'll laugh. You'll cry. You're not going to hurl. It's not the next Wayne's World. But it was really, really good. There's a couple parts I'm like, you know what? This did not add anything to the movie. I don't know why this was in here. It wasn't nudity. It wasn't profanity. And if you are like me, you'll know it when you see it. And I'm like, I could have done without that. But for the most part, on the whole, I would watch this again. I'd recommend it if you're looking for a good, I don't know if it necessarily qualifies as a rom-com. I don't know if I would say that, but there was a sense of romance. You know, Otto is working through some stuff personally and in the neighborhood, and it's a really good story. I would recommend it. You know, we enjoyed that together, my wife and I. So much stuff over the last 3 months. We don't have time to get into it all right on this podcast. Today, we are, however, prioritizing letting go. We're going to let go of some stuff. We're going to let go of some past. You know, 2022 was here. It was a good year. There was a lot of good stuff about it. There was a lot of stuff about it I didn't like. I'm glad to go beyond it. We're beyond that. I mean, the calendar changed a day, and there's some people who would say, why are you setting up a New Year's resolution, a new goal? You could do that every day of the year, and they're absolutely right. You could. And for some reason, when the year changes over, it's January 1st, and 20, whatever it is, we look at this as another opportunity. And the reality is today, if it's Monday, Tuesday, whenever you listen into the podcast, today's another opportunity to get it right. Today's another opportunity to let the past go, to let stuff go, to let it out of your life. Why am I carrying this luggage around? You ever ask yourself that? Why do we have junk drawers? Why do we have stuff drawers? That these things we collect them. We don't know where to put them. We don't want to get rid of them because we think, one day I might use that. The Minimalists have a great story. Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus. I recommend get on the podcast, listen to a few episodes. It's done very well. They have a high quality podcast. They have some very, very good content. It's brought value to my life. I hope it does the same for you. They talk about how they had to let go. Joshua Fields Milburn was down in Florida. No, he was in the corporate world managing the director of large retail stores with the cellular industry. And his mom is down in Florida. He gets a call. His mom had passed away. He's got to go down there. And as he's going through this stuff, thinking, okay, I gotta package this up, I'll send it back, and I can go through it in another time, and I'll get a storage locker. And he's going through, like in her closet, she had 6 winter coats. The gal lived in Florida. What's a winter in Florida? 50 degrees? I was just in Florida, and I told my wife we had the family retreat in the mountains. So I had wool socks, I had my sweaters, my sweatshirts, and a jacket. She got me this great jacket. It's a Tommy Bahama leather jacket. So cool. For Christmas, it was my big Christmas gift. I said, hey, babe, I'm not going to need any of this. I'm going to Florida. We have an expo. It's down there in Pensacola. I'm going to be down there for a week. I don't need it. I'm going to be fine. I got polos, right? I got my khakis. It's going to be fine. I get down there. I didn't realize that the expo was being held inside of an ice arena, and it was the coldest winter on record for Florida. So go me. What do I know? So Josh is going through the stuff, and his mom saved like everything. She saved stuff from when he was a kid, the tests that he brought home from school with the grades on it. Have you ever seen these things? I don't know from what generation you are. Our kids would bring their tests home. We had grades on them. I brought tests home to show to my folks when they had grades on them. Like, hey, look, I got an A-. I got an A+. Look, hey, I'm not a complete moron. And she saved them. Why do we hold on to these things? We think they bring some good sentimental value to our life, so we hold on to them. But we shove them into a drawer. We shove them into a tub, and we're going to get back to it at a later time. Let me ask you a question. How many clothes are in your closet right now that you haven't worn in more than 2 seasons, maybe 2 years, maybe longer? What about your drawers? I'm not talking about the things that you wear underneath your pants. I'm talking about the drawers in your dresser. You got a dresser in your bed? Of course you do, because you're a person who puts stuff in a stuff box. We call those dressers. When you pop open the dresser, when you're pulling out the drawers, how many socks in there did you actually wear? How many drawers do you actually wear? And yeah, I'm talking about the drawers now. What about pants, jeans, denim, T-shirts? How do we let this stuff go and get it out of our life? I'm going to try to walk you through in a very small step-by-step program. Grab a tub. Grab a plastic baggie. You're going to start by gathering things that you want to sell. You don't wear them anymore. You don't use them anymore. You don't play with those toys anymore. You don't play with the video games anymore. The first question is, can you sell it? Do you want to sell it? You don't want to hang on to it, but you don't know what to do with it. You can sell it or donate it. So we're doing one of two different things. Grab a bunch of trash bags, grab a bunch of Walmart bags or tubs if you'd like to put them into tubs. You're going to get them ready to sell on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. You're going to get ready to sell them at the local, sell it yourself place. Or what I tend to do, because I don't have a whole lot of time to take a bunch of pictures, do a description, and then monitor all of the feeds that I have coming in on this one item that I'm trying to sell. But hey, if you need the money, sell the stuff, okay? I'm taking the easy route out where I will grab our Walmart bags, and everybody in our family does this. They will periodically go through their dresser, go through their closet, go underneath their bed. Hey, I don't use this luggage. I can't remember the last time I used this piece of luggage or wore that denim or wore that sweatshirt. Then it's time to get rid of it. Get it out of your life. Get it out of your closet. Reclaim that space. We do not have to fill every single space in our life with stuff. You ever met somebody who's got zero margin in their schedule and they boast about it, how tired they are? Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I just put in 90 hours at work. I got to do the lawn. I got to clean out the garage. I don't have time. I got a meeting tomorrow. Hey, man, you want to get together for a coffee sometime? Why don't you come on over? We're doing Chicago. Oh, I'd love to. But you know how busy I am? No, I don't. And are you about to brag about how busy? Do you enjoy being this busy? I think it's time to create some margin in our life. How do we do that? Using a very powerful term. Using a very powerful word that is so rarely used, it's almost forgotten in the English language. I call it no. Hey, Toby, you want to serve on our board of directors? We got a big... No. Why not? I don't have it in my schedule. Well, why not? I am so honored that you asked me to be a part of your board. I'm so honored that you asked me to be a part of your group, your prayer group, your evening group that gets together and does these things. That your group that gets together and plays cards, I love that. It's good. I love community. I'm all about community. I carve out time to be with my wife, and I hold that sacred. That is how my wife and I have built a beautiful marriage. Almost 27 years now. We're going to celebrate in May. 27 years is going to be great. Now, if I begin saying yes to everything that gets asked to me, I have to start saying no to my wife. Sorry, I can't do a date this week, this month, this quarter, because I'm on 4 different boards. I got work. I got my 3 podcasts. I just don't have time for you, honey. Sorry, I want you, shoot me an email. Let's see if we can carve you in next quarter. Gosh, can you imagine how hurtful that would be? Can you imagine trying to build a family and you're saying yes to everything, right? Because we're constantly told as Christ followers, well, you need to be more Christian-like and say yes. Because I am being Christ-like, I am saying no. We often forget that Christ would spend a lot of time in the mountains with the Father, in the wilderness with the Father. That was his alone time. That was his private, that was his prayer time. That was his time. And we don't do that very often. It's not about just taking time and meditating for 5 minutes. And then we get back to the hustle and bustle of life. For some odd reason, we've considered it a badge of honor to be so stinking busy. We've left no margin in our schedule. Why is that honor? That's not honorable. I don't look at that and say, golly gee whiz, you must be really important. I look at that and say, golly gee whiz, I am so sorry for you. How can I help you say no to things? One of the ways we can begin saying no is getting stuff out of our drawer, out of our closet that we don't wear, that we don't use. You don't have to re-gift it, okay? Handing someone else stuff that you don't use and you don't think they're going to use, but you don't want it, that's not a gift to them. You know how often I got family members that, hey, Tobe, we know you got boys. Here's a bunch of food. What? We don't eat tons of carbs and sugar. Yeah, but we don't want it at our house. Thanks for coming to Thanksgiving dinner, and here's a bunch of food and pies and stuff. We know you got boys. Okay. But we don't eat a bunch of That's all right. Hey, we know you got people there and sometimes they're naked. Here's a bunch of clothing we don't want. We're trying to get rid of. What do you want me to do with it? Well, your boys are big. No, they're not. They're tall. This is a triple extra large. How big do you think our boy? That's insulting if I was going to pick up an offense. But you know what? We're not picking up offenses. We don't have to accept it into our life. I mean, I've heard the minimalists say it, just reply beautifully. Hey, thank you so much for thinking of me. And I believe I can be candid with you because if you've listened to me for any extent of time, then you know not everything that goes on in my head comes out my mouth. With you, I don't know if I use much of a filter because I think you and we got that relationship. But, if I'm trying to be diplomatic about things with family members and those close to me, I will add a little bit of finesse. Hey, thanks for thinking of me about this. Really, I appreciate it. But to be candid with you, is that okay? Can I be candid with you? I don't believe we're going to wear these things. If you want, I can probably find a good home. With your permission, I'll drop it off at Salvation Army. I'll save you a trip because I love you and thanks for caring about me. And that's fine. If they're offended because I'm not going to wear it, that's their problem. If they're offended because I'm not going to bring in an entire baked pie that was expired 3 days ago and they picked it up because they wanted to bring something because out of the kindness of their heart, but they're not great planners at this. If they're offended because I don't eat it or I'm not going to keep it in my kitchen, I'm sorry, not sorry. That's their problem. I can't control how you're going to feel. And I'm not being belligerent here. I'm not shoving things into their faces saying, well, by golly, how dare you leave this at my house? How dare you think of me and try to give me free clothes? Not it at all. But I can tell you, I've lost count of how many times people have gifted us stuff just to get it out of their house. And they thought they were doing us a favor. No, not a favor. And how we can help salvage that? Hey, thanks very much for the invite to be a part of your group. I love that. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm honored, really. I'm honored to be on your. But between you and me, the list, I don't need to bring a bunch of stuff into my life to feel better about myself. And neither do you. You need to. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're fine and you're just like, hey, this is pretty good, reminder, which is great. I'm glad. Thank you so much. If this can help you to say no to things, I don't need this stuff in my drawer. I don't need a junk drawer, period. The things we keep in our drawers, in our cabinets should be stuff we use. If you don't use it, get rid of it. Reclaim some of that space in your drawers. Reclaim some of that mental sanity in your mind. You have no idea how lighter you will feel letting stuff go. There's a movie. Oh my gosh. I'm never going to outlive this. Maybe I've already told this story. And if so, you can stop me right now. Nope. Okay. Years ago, I was out and about. I'm like, hey, we haven't done a living room picnic for a while. You ever tried one of these? This is great. If you got, young guys, if you got little girls at home, try a living room picnic sometime. It's really cool. Get together some Munchables, some eatables, some drinkables, some ice cream, grab a movie or get a favorite TV show, build a fort, and then eat the food while you're watching the movie together on the floor with your gang, with your bride, with your girls, with your boys, with your family, everybody all together. It's really cool. It creates a cool memory. That is, unless, of course, you're watching this movie. I had all boys and my wife. I didn't realize this was a young girls musical. Okay, it was called Frozen, and I have regretted it ever since. They bring it up around every time. Hey, Dad, we gonna watch Frozen today? That was a great movie. Shut it now. Shut it, and don't speak that. Don't bring that up again. I didn't realize it was a musical. I just kept hearing all these great things about it and all the people talking about it. I'm like, hey, everybody in the media seems to think this is an all right movie. I'll snag this. We'll watch it at home. Had the ice cream, the popcorn, the eatables, the drinkables. And then, Dad, why did you get Frozen? I didn't realize it was this kind of movie. I never lived it down. Of course, there is the song in there, Let It Go. I don't know the lyrics. I just remember the pain of the chorus. Yeah, let it go. Why do we have all this stuff in our stuff drawer, junk drawer we don't use? Let it go. Get rid of it. Throw it in the tub. Here's the thing. Maybe you could start small and then branch into your kitchen. Start in a room you don't normally use, you don't normally go to. And if you're trying to get rid of stuff, start in there because you're less likely to have some kind of sentimental attachment to the things in that room, right? So grab all the stuff you're not using, you don't really need anymore. You can't remember who gave it to. Somebody gave me this. I don't know who it was. It was kind of nice. If it's not bringing value to your life, why do you have it in there? Now, both of you want to get on the same page. If it's you and your bride or you and your husband, you want to kind of get on the same page. It's tough when you're not on the same page. If you are minimizing stuff out of your life, let's just hold on to the good things and get some peace of mind. Let's get some space back in our room, in our house. You realize there's just as much beauty in the void as there is in the items that are placed there to beautify it. You ever listen to a song? There's not notes and drums and guitar and like all throughout the song. There might be moments where it's just kind of bare and it's letting it fall for a second. And then it picks it back up and makes a run for it. You ever watch the movie The Greatest Showman? Oh, that was so good. That was a master at those. Really good. Anyway, back on course. We're minimizing. You guys want to be on the same page because I've seen this before with my own eyes when my folks were moving. One of the many, many, many times they moved. Mom was minimizing, and I was so proud of her. I was like, I didn't even know you knew the word. Well, Mom knew the word. I don't think Pops did. But see, Pops is kind of a hoarder, which is weird because he's also a perfectionist. So I don't get that. I know he likes to find the bargains and get the great bargains, and instead of paying, he's a very frugal hoarder. So instead of paying $3.50 for a barbecue sauce, if he finds it on sale for $1, he'll buy like the whole shelf. Well, son, you can't have too much barbecue sauce in your life. I beg to argue with that. I think you can. We moved them once. They had 15 bottles of dish soap because Dad found a great deal on it. See, for me, that's a lot. That's too much. That just takes up too much space. They had 17 jars of peanut butter. That's a lot. And I don't even think they eat peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I never see him eat peanut butter jelly sandwiches or peanut butter and honey sandwich. You ever had peanut butter and honey? Oh my gosh, you gotta try this if you've never had it. My grandma used to make this. This is how I got hooked on it. I don't know how she did it, but she would put the peanut butter on like both sides, and then the honey, and somehow the honey would crisp before I even got it to my mouth. She'd slice it in half, kind of how grandmas do. And then you like, oh, this is so good. It was like dessert. It was literally dessert. You had the carbs, you had the peanuts, and then you had the sweetness with that. It was so good. You got to try one of those. If you're not eating one now, I'm going to tell you right now, when you get home, try a peanut butter and honey sandwich, cut it in half. You'll thank me for it. Or, I mean, you don't even have to. You could say it was your idea. It's fine. Both of you got to get on the same page with the minimizing, okay? So I'm there, we're moving, and Mom's like, we don't need this, we don't need that. Go ahead and sell it on the sidewalk, or because they lived in town, and they were selling a hutch on the sidewalk and something else. We're snapping photos, we're trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and some of the items actually they went like that very day. I was so happy. We're bringing like this exercise bike. It was called what was that? A Windine, an Aerodyne, a Speed Dyne. It was something with a dyne, D-Y-N-E, Fandine. I can't recall it. They've had that since I was probably 40 years, I'm thinking. Maybe 39. I want to say Aerodyne. I think it was an Aerodyne. But that doesn't sound right. Anyway, it's moved with them forever. And Dad's like, no, we can't get rid of that. Dad, nobody uses this bike. It's a bike with a fan on the front, so as you're pedaling, it blows wind at your face. Well, he's going to use it. He's going to sit on the porch, and they'll use it there on the porch. Dad, it sat on the porch at the last place you didn't use it. Didn't get rid of it. I'm pretty sure they still got it, and they got two storage bins last time. I think they cleaned out the storage bins. So one was minimizing, the other was not. I love them both. And I encourage you, as you let stuff go, you will feel freer in your mind, your body, your soul. It's just going to be like, oh, I don't know why I didn't get rid of that earlier. I've listened to people talk to me about how I don't know if I can get rid of that. I just don't. Hey, can I throw out a suggestion for you? Oh, yeah, anything will help. Why don't you put it in a box and then sit it off to the side in a place, in a room where you don't normally go? Oh, that's a great idea. If you haven't gotten rid of it in the next 30 days, you have my permission to get rid of it. Okay. A week later, I get a message. Hey, it's gone. Thank you so much. I feel so much better. Gang, I'm telling you, we hold on to stuff as if the meaning and the sentiment and the memory is in that item, and it's not. It might, spring a memory. So take a picture of it, store it in your cloud, whatever you use, iCloud or Dropbox or Box.net, or, maybe you have an external, what are these things called? You have an external hard drive, and you take a snapshot and then it stores there. Fine. Maybe you want it on a backup drive and you keep that at a bank just in case there's a big fire. Okay. But you don't have to hang on to all this stuff in your life. It just weighs you down. Do you remember the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney and Vera Farmiga and I forget the other gal, and Jason Bateman too. He's great. He does this. It's kind of like a TED Talk, and he talks about a backpack. He says, "I want you to picture a backpack and place everything in your life in the backpack. All your relationships, your refrigerator, your stereo, everything you have at your house, your sofa, your sectional that you just bought 2 years ago, your computer that you don't really use all that much, your cell phone you've been trying to get rid of. You feel the weight of that on your shoulders? Good. Now I want you to set it on fire and step back and just let it burn. Let the desk that you never use burn up. Let the table that was gifted to you that you never use, let it burn. You feel the weight of that gone. And then we'll start new. What are the good relationships that you want to keep? Maybe, I've been talking about stuff. Maybe for you, this is more about relationships. Maybe you've been hurt before. Maybe you've been betrayed. Maybe you've been screwed over, right? Oof. You ever had that? You ever been, oof, man. I remember this time, and it's so hard to get over. This would have been, I think we're on 3 years now. Haven't heard from him lately, and that's too bad. Because I liked him. He was a friend of mine. We closed down a bar together. We ate several times at restaurants together. We worked together. He was the programmer on several of our projects. In essence, he was my boss. And for those specific projects, but I had worked with another colleague far longer. But on these other projects, I would submit my invoices to him, and then through him and his company, my company would get paid. I would get paid. And all of a sudden, something happened, and I didn't receive my payment, my compensation. Normally, there's about a 30-day net on the invoices at that time. And, 31 days, and like, hey, man, what's going on? Oh, yeah, just, getting through some stuff. Get that right out to you. And a week goes by, and another week. And it was a really, really, really long time before I saw partial payment. And I'm not talking about a couple $100, gang. It was a little more than $3,000, which for me, and that's a lot, Hearing Dave Ramsey talk, he's been screwed over in the tens of thousands. There's a guy that owes him like $25,000, $35,000, and he had to let it go. He just, you want to carry that around? Because they're not carrying it around. Dave does not expect that he will see that $35,000. I don't expect that I'll see that other $1,000. If I do, I'd be pleasantly surprised. I'd be like, hey, this guy cares about mending the relationship. I haven't heard from him. I haven't received an email or a text message, and I hope he's doing great. I hope him and his family are good. I certainly don't want to carry around the baggage of holding a grudge against this guy, because it only hurts me. It only brings down my life, my mind, my family, and those around me, carrying around this extra baggage. If you're doing the same thing, can I encourage you to let that go? Just drop it at your side. If you want to pick it up later, if holding on to that grudge seriously brought you value, made you feel better about yourself, who you are, and where you're going, you can go right back to picking that back up. That will be there for you when you return. Trust me on that. But I want to encourage you to let it go, because I'm going to step out on a limb here and say, that's not bringing you any value. That luggage that you're holding out at arm's length for an extended period of time is just weighing you down. It's hurting your hand, your wrist, your shoulders, your arm. It's hurting your back because you're holding on to this luggage. You're holding on to this weight. And when you let it go and you release them of that, you will feel so much better. Maybe for you, it's not a relationship that you lost, but it's a person who had passed away, somebody who was near and dear to your heart. I was friends with a guy years ago. He was an accountability partner of mine, and we would meet at least once a week. We were part of a larger group, and then one by one, the group kind of fell away. We would still meet. And I remember being on a phone call with this guy. I was a little upset with David, and his name was David Arnold, and he was a youth pastor. He was a little airbrained at times, and he wasn't necessarily the schedule guy. Not everything was on time, and he was supposed to call me, and he didn't. And I'm like, you got to be joking. So I give him a call. I can't remember the voicemail that I left. I know it wasn't super positive. It wasn't belligerent. I wasn't demoralizing, derogatory. I wasn't profane, but I wasn't happy. I walk into our church with my wife Sunday morning, and the guy, Jeff Irvin, was there. He says, "Hey, Tob, how you doing?" It's like, "Oh, man, great. It's a Sunday morning. It's a new day. It's a new week." He says, "Oh, you didn't hear." I said, "I didn't hear what?" He says, David Arnold had just passed away over the weekend. What? What are you talking about? He was on a camping retreat with some teenagers, and he died of carbon dioxide asphyxiation. He fell asleep, and he never woke up. Huh? So it took a while to soak in, and it was hard to let that go. And I would still meet with another couple of guys, and I ordered him the drink that he would always order for maybe a couple of months. Just made me feel like he was, kind of still part of the group. I thought, I got to a point where I didn't feel the need to continue ordering a drink for somebody who wasn't going to show. And of course, I would say to the waitress, this guy's going to be a little late. And the other guy I was meeting with at the time, he's like, yeah, he got it. He understood. That's not easy. I don't know what it's like to lose a brother, but I know what it's like to lose a friend. That's not easy. You walk through it, you work through it, and you need to find a healthy way to work through it and to let go. You're not forgetting. This is not about, oh my gosh, if I don't order that drink, if we don't go to that restaurant, if I don't celebrate his passing, then what kind of a friend am I? That's the enemy yelling at you and putting you down and criticizing you as if you're not the friend that you honestly are. If you're not the sibling or the parent or the daughter or the son that you honestly are. Just because you don't crawl up into a ball every, 1st of January because that's when your friend or relative had passed away, doesn't mean that you've forgotten all about that person. Just because I don't go to Pizza Hut and order the lemonade for my friend David doesn't mean that he's long forgotten. It means that I have found a healthy way to work through letting go. I don't forget about the guy. I don't forget about those people in my life. And I wish, this other guy screwed me over. I wish him the best. I wish his family the best. Was that easy to get to? No. He's not the first person to screw me over, and he's probably not going to be the last. I'm not going to build up this large brick wall, not allowing others in, because that's not healthy either. I will. I have implemented a few, safeguards in the future so that I don't get screwed the same way. I try to learn from my mistakes. I try to learn from other people's mistakes. So, gang, today we're prioritizing letting go. This could be stuff. Time to get stuff out of your life. Start small, then work your way up. Start in rooms that you don't normally go to, and then move on to the rooms where you were always in nearly every single day. And you know the rooms that they are. Maybe it's your garage. Maybe you're in your garage all the time, and it's just time to walk through step by. Start in a corner, get a tub, get a garbage bag. Look at stuff you can get rid of, donate, maybe sell online, get it out of your life, reclaim that space. Maybe it's time to let go of poisonous relationships, the people that do not bring value to your life, who constantly make you feel guilty, who drain you of all of your energy. Maybe it's time to let them go. Now, I know on the other side of that is, I'm supposed to be the light and bring them light in the dark world. Yes, absolutely. You 100% are. And you cannot bring the light if you are completely drained of fuel. You can't bring the light if you have no more wax left in your candle. You got to recharge. How do you do that? Say no sometimes. Recharge. Get some fuel back in your tank. Get some wax back in your candle. Get some oil back in your oil lamp. How many other metaphors can we put in here, huh? Recharge the batteries. Get some new batteries. No. You know what you need to do. If you're that kind of person, when you got to sink your feet into some sand at a beach, then by all means, you know where you got to go. If you're the kind of person that's got to spend a few hours or a couple of days in the woods, in the mountains, hiking, biking, then that's where you got to go. If you got to unplug, shut down, and retreat just so you can breathe and write and maybe podcast. Like, it's hard to unplug and podcast at the same time, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. Then that's what you got to do. And if you're in constant talk with people, they're like, oh, where were you for 2 days? I had to unplug. You can let those people know ahead of time, hey, I'm going on a trip, going to be out of commission for a couple days. I just got to recharge. I've listened to pastors that do the very same thing. And the congregants and the sheep within the congregation of the shepherd owe that to the pastor. Yeah, we got to give them some space. Let's not be so selfish where we make it all about us. Yeah, let some stuff go, gang. Let some people out of your life if they drain you of everything, if they're poisonous, if you feel like, oh, I just can't move after meeting with this person. Why am I saying yes? Then say no. You have my permission. Start small, build momentum, right? Start in a corner of the room and then take over the whole room and then move into the next room and the next room. And before you know it, gentlemen and ladies, you will be letting go of stuff, not feeling guilty. You'll be saying no to the things that do not bring value. You'll be saying yes to the people and the relationships that you enjoy. You'll have wax back in your candle to be the light in a dark world for so many who just maybe need to see a smile. And maybe it's yours.